pod bay doors, please, Hal.
The pod bay doors are slightly open for this mini episode. I'm your host, Jerry Dean Roberts of ArmchairCinema.com. And sitting across the vast landscape is my co-host, the legend and critic from TalkMovieToMe.com. How the heck are you today, sir? Doug Heller? And script. Yeah, sad times. Yeah, sad times. This week's episode is dedicated to Peter Mayhew. 74 years old.
I was so sad. He's been in ill health for years, but he was, in a lot of ways, kind of the heart and soul of these movies. He was such a good-natured person, apparently.
I met him.
You did?
In 2003. He was as good-natured as you think he is. That English upbringing comes through, you know. Very polite, even when he's telling you no, and when he's telling you to bugger off. He's very nice. I can't say that about Anthony Daniels.
I've heard Anthony Daniels is kind of a prick.
Well, when I met him, I think I met him at the wrong time, and he was really, I think he was trying to get somewhere, and it was, it may have been my fault, but it's interesting. I think about this. These actors like Peter Mayhew, who you can't say that they have a lot of distinguished film credits, but they've latched on to a cultural phenomenon that is basically funding them and basically giving them a kind of immortality for the rest of their lives.
Oh, absolutely. Mayhew, Daniels,
Kenny Baker.
Kenny Baker had that too. Then
any of the supporting players in Star Trek.
Yeah. I mean, and if some of them have been willing to just say, you know what, I'm gonna embrace this, and this is gonna be. I'm known for something, and that's what every actor wants to be, is known for something.
There's my immortality.
Right. And Peter Mayhew, he was a janitor, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. It was an orderly at a hospital.
Yeah, that's right. He was an orderly at a hospital. And what is he? He was 7'4".
7'3". He was, but he wasn't. He was known for monster roles, Sinbad in the Eye of the Tiger, and things like that. It was the Terror, movies like that needed his height.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Baker was the same way.
Mm-hmm.
The extremities of their height, and they just happened on this. And
they were in the right place at the right time, and
right, or their agents were.
Yeah,
and and it was also at a time when someone with that kind of, I hate to call it abnormality, was easily exploited.
Yeah,
particularly somebody like Kenny Baker.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Star Wars movies were very good to them.
Absolutely. It did just dawn on me that a beloved actor from the series dies every year. There's a new chapter since the Disney movies came out, because Kenny Baker died before Force Awakens, Carrie Fisher died before The Last Jedi, and now Peter Mayhew died before The Rise of Skywalker. I'm glad there's no more saga movies left, because we're running out of actors. We don't
stop killing the actors off.
Yeah.
Well, the larger thing is, it's just interesting to me that this phenomenon. It's like I don't. It's like I'm gonna be a working actor. I'm gonna work as an actor, but I can also make a lot of money. I can also make a lot. I can also endear myself to the fans even more by doing the convention circuit.
Right, and the convention circuit, I was Mayhew's bread and butter for
It
I
was.
think most of his life.
Hmm. Hmm.
From when they first started having them, I think he would make it a point to try to get to every single one he could.
Right.
And that's a lot of money in autographs
Hmm.
and appearance and booking fees and
I think he was also doing that at a time when most didn't do that,
right.
when it was seen as the last resort, kind of like you remember when actors used to go on Hollywood squares,
Oh yeah.
and it was like when you would see a celebrity at Hollywood squares, people were like, "Oh, how they've fallen." Now they just get working celebrities. It's like
Right. Right.
and they do that at
Now,
conventions too.
yeah, they get the conventions have grown in profile,
Hmm.
largely because people like Peter Mayhew started going when they were
And gave them
new.
legitimacy.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and helped them grow into something that people were not ashamed of.
Right.
Although
Right.
Carrie Fisher said every time she went to a convention that she was whoring herself out. Uh, good
I don't think so.
naturedly, good
Yeah.
naturedly. She said she was she's got to go whore herself out so she can pay some
You
bills.
know what? I think that's basically true of every actor.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's essentially
but
that's what you're doing.
yeah, really.
I mean, in the profession itself. I mean,
Fisher had such a had a great attitude about it. She liked the fans.
self-deprecating.
She liked the fans. Uh, she just she liked saying things that people didn't expect her to say.
Mm.
I miss her so much.
Well, I'm so glad that actors like Peter Mayhew can do the convention circuit, and um, it's gone beyond. People go and they see actual celebrities there. They
Hmm.
don't just have it's not like the Love Boat. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
they can't get work, so this is the best they can do.
right. Yeah,
But
no, I went to a couple of Star Trek conventions when I was in high school. I got to
mhm.
see Shatner and Robert Picardo and you know,
Looking like they don't want to be there, actually.
I got to hear Shatner give a full talk, and he
Hmm.
talked about almost nothing about Star Trek. He's like, "You guys know this better than I do. I was just on the show.
Hmm.
You guys follow this with your lives. I can't tell you anything because I'm not really involved in it anymore."
Decay is a lot of fun because he tells stories.
Yeah.
George Decay. And I tell you, you talk about a person who has taken a role and really made a legacy out of it.
Oh yeah.
George Decay. I mean,
He's had a very bright second career as a result of
post
his
retirement
yeah,
career.
as a result of his stardom and
He was on Clone Wars, and I'm thinking, okay, a
mhm,
Star Trek actor is now on Star Wars. The world has indeed turned upside down.
mhm. And he's not the only one,
Yeah, yeah.
technically, because Greg
Tom
Grunberg,
Baker was on Star Wars
Tom Baker was on
from
Star
Doctor
Wars.
Who.
Yep, Fourth Doctor. What was it Greg Grunberg was in Force Awakens? He was Snap Wexley, and then he was
Hmm.
in
Yeah, he's in a lot of
the
he's in a
third.
lot of Abrams stuff.
He's in most Abrams stuff. I hope he comes back because there's a backstory with him that he's one of the main characters in the Aftermath trilogy. Snap
Yeah,
Wexley, that takes place in the year after Return of the Jedi, and he's just a kid then, but he's a good pilot, so he's
I get the feeling they're propping him up to be the next Wedge.
I hope they do something with him, and I know they explain away why he wasn't there um, in the Last Jedi. In
Mm-hmm.
in the book, he was on some uh, like recruitment mission,
Mm-hmm.
some mission somewhere else. So they got back. He got back from scouting, and he got back from blowing up the thing, and then he went on some other mission.
Mm.
That's why we didn't see him in the Last Jedi.
Well, let me ask you this: it's I'm writing a book about Disney, and I've gotten into the cult of nostalgia. I've lived long enough that I know now that nostalgia has become this strange, like multi-billion dollar industry.
Oh yeah.
Nostalgia used to be you went in your garage and you were cleaning it out and you ran across your high school yearbook, or you ran across, your old guitar, or you ran across your old albums. Now I work in a store that is nothing but nostalgia. My God, I mean, I can look around and I see, a stormtrooper doll that's $85, and I'm
Hmm.
like, it's crazy,
Yeah.
you know. And social media has made it even worse. I was, have you seen the reaction recently? It's amazing how crazy people go, because we know how crazy we all went with the Star Wars trailer recently,
Hmm.
and the snapshot of that is something like Sonic,
Yeah.
which, if
I
you've
still
seen
haven't
this,
watched that trailer.
oh dear God, I watched it the other night because a friend of mine was telling me this is the worst, most terrible thing you'll ever see in your life. This is absolutely, this will leave you just agog. And I watched the trailer and I'm like, I'm sorry to tell you this, but this looks like every other trailer I've ever seen.
Yeah. See, I read the aftermath of the Sonic trailer drop,
Mm,
and it was a lot of people were unnerved at how realistic he looked and how the teeth, the human teeth there, and so they're dropping the human teeth. But I also gather that that is not the worst of the problems with what looks like to be a terrible
yeah,
movie.
I watched the trailer and I thought, okay, basically what they've done is they've taken this character from a video game and they put together with hammer and nails a plot that is drawn from every other bland Jason Bourne alien invasion type movie.
Mm.
And they've made something, and this is what they've made out of it. That's it,
Because there was a decent cartoon show back in the '90s
yeah,
when
yeah,
Sonic was a reasonably new property when the Sega Genesis first came out.
right.
Um, and the show wasn't bad. It wasn't
Mm.
great, but it wasn't bad.
Well, it was fun, I
Yeah.
guess.
Well,
You
I
know,
mean, animated TV shows based on video games, you can just do these little half-hour kind of spin-offs of what the plot of the video game is, and it
and
doesn't get all
and
that
just show them
gory.
what they want to see.
You're right, but a feature film, you have to hold people's attention for 90 minutes without commercials.
Right, and it's an audience that is really hard to please.
You're right. And, now,
Give us what we want, or run you out of town on a rail. That's
yeah.
basically the template of this stuff. See, nostalgia is crazy, particularly mixed with the social media, in which people are just are if I don't see what I want right away, then I'm gonna dump on your product, and just make it look like the worst thing in the world. And it's a strange
Well,
overreaction.
it's toxic fandom. It's people who believe that that this thing is theirs because they grew up with it and liked it,
Hmm.
but it's not.
And put in the hands of somebody who doesn't really understand it.
Not even necessarily that. I mean, there's enough people that hated the Last Jedi, and we'll be talking about that in an upcoming episode here,
Mm,
full episode uh, for Star Wars month. But the negative reaction that was held by a minority, I
mm,
will I will state about the Last Jedi. You know, they had problems with it being a woman and killing off Snoke and doing all these things that they're like, well, this isn't what we wanted, so this movie's terrible.
mm.
It's like, well, no, you're just not paying attention. You
Well, also
you
you're at
don't
chapter
get
two.
yeah
You're at chapter two of a three chapter series. and you haven't seen the third chapter, so you have no idea where they're going with this. So it's like this movie is damaged product, damaged goods. I don't get fandom. I really don't. I
I
don't get the mentality of fandom.
Fandom I'm fine with. It's the toxic fandom that is, I've never seen this before, so it's wrong and this is terrible. It's like,
Or I'm going to take a 30-second ad and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to analyze it.
how do you how do you analyze a trailer? I really don't understand that. They're like, we're gonna have a big episode on breaking down the trailer. It's like, the trailers are an art form in and of themselves, but
Hmm.
they should be designed to specifically not tell you anything.
The trailers will show you the movie that they wish they made.
A lot of times, yeah.
And but if
Collateral
it's
Beauty, anyone?
yeah, seriously. Um, go back and listen to that episode from last year. Um, the funny thing is, it's designed as an appetizer.
Hmm.
It's not a meal.
Right.
You watch the trailer, and the trailer is supposed to give you just enough information to get you to want to plunk down $12.
Hmm.
You watch the trailer for Avengers Endgame, and forgive me, I'm forgiven if this is giving me spoilers, but you plunk down, you sit down, you watch the trailers for Endgame. It will tell you the first act.
Right.
It won't tell you anything that happens in the middle or the end of the movie.
Right. And that's how I always do my reviews. When I encapsulate a plot, I will only talk about the first act.
Right, right.
Anything else, I just say, and it goes on from there, or something,
Yeah,
craziness ensues, or whatever, and just
and
move on.
shenanigans.
Shenanigans, craziness.
I love the word shenanigans, but
Good
it's
old
just
fashioned ribbleding.
I keep things. I try to keep things at a base level. Yes, I'm excited for Star Wars. Yes, I'm excited for Episode 9. I'm excited for the,
Hmm.
but I'm not losing my mind over a 3-minute trailer. I'm not losing my mind over analyzing, these little pieces and parts.
And you
I
don't,
want to I want to know how the emperor comes back. I want to know,
yeah,
a lot of this stuff. I want to know how the story ends. But I'm not nitpicking the trailer. I
right,
heard
because
somebody the other day do that, and it was just
well, this doesn't make sense, and this doesn't make sense. It's not a linear plot. It's a trailer.
it's an
It is
appetizer.
it is 3 minutes designed to encapsulate 2+ hours of film to whet your appetite.
The trailers are like that guy who is standing in the middle of the grocery store with that little plate of appetizers, samplers with
The
little
samples, yeah.
toothpicks, and he's handing those out.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
you get one, and if
You
you
get
want
a
to
little
buy
bit.
it, you go to that part of the grocery store, you buy the product.
Right.
It's that easy.
Right.
Uh, or it's the demonstration guy in the department stores. Every once in a while, you get those guys doing the
The sham
demonstrations of
wow.
the sham wow or the Ginsu knives or whatever. It's like
Mm.
you're getting a taste
Or
of what
shake
it can
weights. I
do.
love that one.
I don't think I laughed harder at a commercial than I did the first time I saw the shake weight commercial. And South Park's episode that incorporated the shake weight is one of the greatest things ever.
Yeah, the first time I ever saw the shake weight, I was like, I don't know. I really, really don't know if anybody ever thought this out. There is a product, and sometimes I wonder if they're actually thinking about this because I will never forget there was a product for boning fish or deboning fish, and it was called the Wonder Boner. I'm gonna post right here the commercial for the Wonder Boner because they knew what they had. And and also what was the other one? Oh, there was a boat, a type of boat called the Johnson.
Hmm.
The song that goes with the commercial is beautiful. It's like you, your girl, and your Johnson. It's just they knew what they were doing.
Look, if they can get it past the FCC guidelines, I'm all for it.
if you can sell it to a network. I mean,
Well, it was like, what was that? There was some commercial for a men's grooming product. It was probably Axe because it was vulgar, but they were talking. It had a big uh, net full of basketballs,
Mhm.
and they're like, uh,
Oh God.
clean your balls with just and be good to your balls and all this kind of stuff, and they're just showing these basketballs, but
Oh,
obviously they were going in a different direction.
yeah. You remember that commercial? What was that commercial a couple of years ago? I just shit my pants. It's about mailing pants, and it's like I just shit my bed. Yeah, I just shipped my bed.
The greatest commercial of all is a non-commercial.
Hmm?
Is the Saturday Night Live "Oops, I Crap My Pants."
Yeah, yeah.
"Oops, I crap my pants" is a great, and I just did.
Well, that's the
Anyway,
world of advertising. I mean, I wonder, sometimes if that's, the job is so you have to stay within these guidelines. You have to stay within this. And sometimes you just get a product where like you're like, I can't help it. It's like, you're just like, I can't help it. I gotta I gotta do this. Um, but anyway, yeah. R.I.P. Peter Mayhew.
yeah, I'm still very upset about that. It's
I met the man. It's funny. I met the man. He's 7 foot. He was 7'3". He had a cane. I remember. And hands like a catcher's mitt,
yeah.
like a catcher's mitt. It was, but such a gentleman.
Hmm.
And he looked like he should have a bass guitar. He did. He looked like,
He'd probably be one of the only people that could play an upright bass and have to stoop over.
yeah, or have to sit down.
Yeah. Uh, I think that about does it here
Yeah,
for us on this mini episode. We thank you very much for listening. You can find us on iTunes.
yeah,
Search for
iTunes.
the Pod Bay Doors podcast with Doug and Jerry. You'll be able to find us. You'll be able to find all of our back episodes at www.thepodbaydooርspodcast.wordpress.com. You can find us on Twitter at pod_bay and throw a tip into our virtual tip jar at Patreon, also at pod_bay. Thank you very much for listening, and the Pod Bay doors are now closed.
The mission has been completed.